Look, I'm a firm believer that being aware of how and why some things happen to us gives us the ability to overcome many difficult situations. This self awareness shouldn't only focus on what's happening externally, but also on things happening internally. We're better at noticing what's happening externally, but it's not as easy to spot our internal struggles. For example, when our bodies are tired, we intuitively know that it's from all the work we've been doing, and therefore we simply rest or recuperate. What most of us don't often notice though is that our brains get tired too. Most of us also don't know what to do when this happens. This is called mental exhaustion, and if the problem goes unchecked, it begins to impact our lives and well being. Today, I want to talk about what mental exhaustion is, what it looks like, what causes it, its impact on our lives, and finally, what to do to overcome it. Before we continue, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to this channel if you enjoy this type of content. It really helps. Now let's get on with it. Unlike physical exhaustion, where it's your muscles that get tired, mental exhaustion is when your brain gets tired. It's also called mental fatigue or brain fog. And how do you know you have it? Well, I personally had this problem without even realizing it. There was a time when I constantly felt tired of just everything. I would be fed up with the day right after I woke up. I felt low energy levels all the time. I was mostly angry and impatient. I didn't sleep or eat well, and I found it difficult to get work done because even normal tasks felt harder to do. Naturally, these feelings were accompanied by depression and anxiety. I became prone to making mistakes. I got easily irritated. It was like I felt more pain physically and emotionally, and I detached myself from everything around me. Entertaining negative thoughts was my favorite pastime activity. Like I said, at the time I had no idea what this was, and this had been happening to me in different phases at different times in my life. Because I didn't like feeling this way, I decided to take a closer look to try and figure out what was happening to me, and if I was the only one. I found out through research that mental exhaustion happens to everyone, and it's usually caused by prolonged stress. There is no shortage of things that stress us, to be honest, but some of the most obvious causes could be factors such as demanding lifestyle or job, a challenging life event, like say the loss of a loved one or a life-changing injury, a lot of procrastinating and never getting anything done, etc. Add to that list an overall feeling of uncertainty about your life, and you have everything you need to wear down your brain. Through all this, I came to realize how these situations have affected my life. Usually, I would suffer a decline in productivity, meaning I'd feel less engaged with whatever I was doing, and hence I wouldn't do it well, which would decrease satisfaction with the work and cause a general lack of motivation. The last one probably struck a nerve if you're a young adult. Most young adults know what to do to improve their situations but lack the motivation to get started, let alone do anything about it. Mental exhaustion is a contributing factor to this. I had to figure out what to do because the solution to this problem is a solution to all the problems that come with it. And this is what I found out to work. First, you need to identify and then eliminate the stresses. The stresses aren't always obvious, and while it might sound like a boring exercise, it really helps to spend a few minutes thinking about what is stressing us out and how we can rise above it. Trust me, there is no situation that we can't rise above. Granted, not all stresses are created equal in the sense that not all of them can be easily removed, but even just being aware of them can help us manage the stress. When faced with problems in life, we can take one of two paths. We can either give up and let the problems destroy us, or we can try to learn from them and ensure we don't find ourselves in the same situations again. For example, let's say you're stressed about money, which we all are. Then you ask yourself how you came to be broke. You realize it's your own fault. You were spending money without a budget and you weren't in the habit of saving any. Now you have the incentive to start doing so. And if you can't stop buying data for excessive use of Instagram and TikTok, you might want to consider throwing away your smartphone. Look, I'm not saying my ideas are perfect, but the point is you should try to figure out what is stressing you out and how to avoid or remove it from your life. Getting active also helps. I was wondering whether one must spend an hour or two in the gym every day to be considered active, but I was surprised to discover that a simple 30-minute walk is acceptable. Hanging out with friends and doing something you enjoy doing together, such as cheering for a sport, catching up about old times, talking about gossip, etc., also helps. These might look like simple activities, but they're helpful in improving your mood and relaxing your brain. You're not gonna like this next one, but what I also found to work in this situation is to reduce your screen time. Now, first, too much screen time, especially on smartphones, is not only bad for your eyes, but also for your brain. Your brain has a reward system for you. You get rewarded when you have accomplished something you wanted to accomplish. But when you hear a notification beep, you're curious to know what this new information is all about. When you check and respond to it, that curious feeling like a bad itch goes away. Your brain rewards you for it and you feel good. So keep in mind, every time you respond to a notification, your brain rewards you for something that doesn't need rewarding. The long-term effect is that you'll have a harder time focusing on tasks that require you to do them for a long time to see any rewards or outcomes, since you're used to quick rewards. And sometimes these tasks are good for you, like a long-term project you must work on or a new skill you're trying to learn. Spending too much time on your phone and scrolling through hours worth of content, watching people post highlights of their lives can also make you feel bad about your own life. It's not even jealousy, it's more like you feel like everyone else is making progress in life except you. This will stress you out and weigh you down. It's important to understand that you can see struggle and failure in pictures, but rest assured it's there. Take comfort in that. If you manage to reduce your screen time though, the question is, what do you do with all this free time? Idleness is arguably just as stressful. Fortunately, trying something new helps to solve this problem, and it's also considered one of the ways one can recover from mental exhaustion. One can try to learn a new skill or focus on a new hobby. In case we decide to try new productive habits though, such as exercise for example, we shouldn't be too concerned if we have off days. I used to struggle with this. If I started a new habit and missed out one day, I would feel like a failure and that would make me lose motivation to continue the next day. Took me a while, but eventually I learned to simply carry on to the next day without thinking too much of yesterday. Because in the long run, consistency matters more than perfection. It also helps to focus on what we can control. There are things we can't control in life. Sometimes we stress ourselves by failing to recognize these things for what they are. When faced with a situation we have no control over, we shouldn't really beat ourselves up because of it. By realizing and acknowledging that there was nothing we could have done to avoid such a thing from happening, we should feel less stressed about it. As an example, consider how much we usually worry about the past. We all know that things that have already happened can never be changed, regardless of how much we think of different ways they could have happened. The past is something we can't control. Worrying about it, however much we sometimes want to, isn't doing us any favors. We focus too much on the past and forget that we have control of our present situation. We can choose how we live our lives every day. We can influence the future with our present choices. It's useful to make introspections and figure out how to distinguish what we can control from what we can't. The bottom line here is that there are so many things standing in our way in life. We're aware of some and unaware of many others. Mental exhaustion is one of the things I never took seriously until I got tired of how it affected me and decided to research it. I came to discover that it has caused me so many bad days and dull moments. Moments when it was hard to concentrate, moments when I found it hard to make sound decisions, moments when I became clumsy and forgetful, moments when I felt burnt out. Every time I went through these things, I assumed it was just life. I accepted it, but I shouldn't have, and neither should you. It can be better. We just need to take better care of our minds and by extension, our entire selves. Awareness is the first step towards healing. So that's it for this video. Thank you kindly for watching this far. If you enjoyed it, you could show your support by clicking the like button and the subscribe button. Also feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Adios.